Oh,
Yeah, I think you're good.
that's that, and then we have to, we don't do anything else, right? It is Jen, okay.
Jen should be adding on, and then both of them should be on as panelists, so they should be able to just get redone. No, I think we're good.
Yep, I'm here. Hi, guys.
Then, outside.
Yes, I know. I just finished putting a few plants in the ground, and now I'm going to join in on the meeting before we go to soccer practice.
Wonderful. Oh, that's the block branch, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we will start at 4:05. And call to order the approval of minutes, the September 18th, 2024 meeting. We hear a motion to accept those minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? I hear none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Welcome. How are you?
Thank you.
This is a time you can actually kind of participate if you want as we go through the conversation. But this is your time to sort of say, you know, kind of why you're here and what you want to do if you want to say something now.
Yeah, I just had said earlier before everyone was here that I'm Maureen and Charlie Bloom, and we live here in Madison, as does our 33, almost 34-year-old son next week, who had an interview September 12th at for the Wellington, and we submitted everything, and he seems to qualify, and we're just waiting to hear. We're very excited for him. And we just wanted to find out a little bit more, because on the website, just in terms of the AMI, the percentage was 50, they gave us a handout, it said 50% for 1 bedroom, which is what he would be. And the 40,000 would be, he couldn't make more than that, which he falls just under that. So he did seem to qualify from all the information that we gave them. We're just waiting to hear back. They said in 2 weeks, which, you know, it's a little over 2 weeks, which we understand.
Oh, 2 weeks ago, they said 2 weeks.
Yeah, which was a little over 2 weeks.
September 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, everything takes a little bit longer. We understand that. But the question that I had for them, and they couldn't answer, but they did give me a name of a person from the state housing. So we didn't know how involved you all are, and if you would know, he does have some developmental disabilities. He's been working at Stop and Shop for the past 9 years, and he currently lives at the Clipper Ship Road with the Davis Apartments, and we help support that, his apartment living there. So we're really excited and hoping.
But on some of the paperwork, it said 25, it says he has a disability, he would be eligible for 25% of that instead of 50, and they didn't know. So just, we were trying to follow.
Yeah, I'm afraid we don't know. The building was actually approved by the town before we were formed.
Okay.
So they preceded it, and now we've been obviously paying attention to it. And it's a major addition to the affordable housing in Madison, which we're very pleased about. But it is, as we understand it, it's really state and federal money that is sort of driving the train as far as how you can get it. I mean, there's the basic things like what percentage of the AMI you are and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, in terms of, like, for example, it was not possible for the town to say, town people get preference. It has to be anybody,
Right.
And so I'm not sure about disabilities. I'm not sure about any kind of preferences there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess that was also
Yeah,
like
we don't
how
want to hold this meeting.
Yeah, we just wanted to know how involved the committee was, or anyone from the town was, in terms of like the AMI or, all of that. Because even though they say it's affordable, it's pretty, you can only make a certain amount, 50% of that. It's pretty high, especially when
Particularly what it is.
when you're going for a mortgage, they recommend not getting more than, stretching yourself more than 30%.
Right.
So it's.
Well, it's not the 50%. I think do you want to try this? She's a lawyer as well.
Well, don't hold that against me, but do you mean that he can't make more than, the threshold for the unit that you're talking about is that his income should not be more than 50% of the area median.
Correct.
Yeah, they gave
In
us
order
a
to
chart.
qualify. And so that's a little different than what I think you're talking about in terms of when you get a mortgage, all of your costs should not exceed 30% of your income. It's a different animal.
Well, I think that applies though.
Yeah, it does apply,
Yeah.
but yes.
It's
two
30%.
different
If I
things.
could just
Yeah,
interject.
I was actually gonna say, I think.
What I'm hearing from you is there's two issues. So there's the way that it's structured in terms of what he qualifies for to go into the unit. And then the issue of the cost of the rent is 50% of his income. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're saying the cost of the rent is 50% of his income, which typically the marker is 30% of your income. It shouldn't be beyond 30% of your income.
And I don't believe it is allowed to be more than 30%.
It's supposed to, from what I understand, it's supposed to be capped at 30% of your income. I will say that these units had to apply for very competitive funding. And in order to get the funding, they have the different percentage levels for the AMI associated with it. And then they have rents that are set for each level, if that makes sense to
Yes.
you. And that was all dictated by the funding that they applied for and they were given. So, and I think that DeMarco is the one that's really managing this and is responsible for anything related to that.
Right, and that's who we met with and the
Okay.
representative that we met with.
And they said they didn't know.
She was very helpful and except she said, you know, everyone applies and she did say, you know, you didn't have special, you know, look, being a Madison resident, it didn't matter, it's open to everyone. And then I asked if there were enough, you know, maybe 1 or 2 apartments for elderly and disabled, and she said, no, everyone's treated the same, and it's not a sliding scale depending upon how much you make. It's gonna be $1,100 a month for everyone. It's across the board. Okay. So then she said, the first thing to do is qualify. Let's make sure you get them in. And then we'll reach out to the state to see, because he is disabled, if he can get in at the 25%.
So are you waiting for that?
We're
phone
waiting,
call?
we're waiting for
Waiting
that.
to see if we're actually in to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if he's in,
Sure.
I mean, he's obvious he's in, we're really gonna.
So are you wondering if we know how you, how you?
We just
find
wonder
out?
If you
we
knew a
knew
little
the
more.
parameters of what the
We
market
do
was.
know a little bit more, and that is, that would be, it would be rather stunning if the rent was, if they let him in and then said the rent has to be 50% of your income, because that would be extraordinarily high. I mean, the state says that the stuff that we're looking at in terms of building more affordable housing, that you have the AMI number, which is, you know, you have to qualify for that. But once you qualify for that, the rent can't be more than 30%
But this was-
of your income. And so that's what we do know from the state, but that's what we're working on. We're working on the assumption that that is correct information. I don't know what the demarcus people are telling.
Maybe like I said, we don't want to hold this meeting hostage,
Yeah.
so maybe we,
Well, it's important to you, I mean.
no, it is, maybe we set up an appointment to speak with one of you later, once we
Well, I
get
think
in.
the town planner should be at this meeting as a liaison, Erin Mannix.
Okay.
She may have some more information when she comes, so if you want to hang around for a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, well, hey.
Yeah,
But I think the issue is though, we're not gonna know when and how and who you actually talk to in terms of getting a real answer. Right?
It's my understanding that the 25% units were dedicated units to divert people from the CAN network, from the homelessness CAN network. And so it would not be something that would,
the 25%, what, 25%?
those
The units that
25%,
are gonna be at 25%.
Of
units that are
what?
25%.
Of
for-
AMI.
AMI.
But then
So then his rent would be $500 a month.
they want to know what the amount of rent they're gonna have to
What the
pay.
amount of rent, I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
that's-
Yeah, because on the website, on the Madison website, it said,
Some are 25, some are 50.
it said the affordable 1 and 2 bedroom rentals will be designated for households making up to 25%, 50%, and 60% of the median income. And the remaining 7 will be rented at market rate. So then when we went to the meeting, they gave us a chart, which I didn't bring along. But it said, 40%, you can't make more than 40,000, then it's had the 50% and what that rent would be, and the 60% what that rent would be. But when then you do the math, then there's no money left over to
Well,
live.
that's the part, as I say, what we do know.
So if we're calling it affordable,
Well, no, I mean, we know that the state defines affordable as not having to pay, I mean, whether you're in a subsidized or otherwise housing. They said anybody who's paying more than 30% is, rent, is being hurt by the rent. No one should be spending more than 30%, according to the state. So that's why I say, I think we have to refine this a little bit more, and maybe Erin will be able to answer us.
Yeah.
But
She's not coming tonight.
She's not coming along, okay.
okay,
All
right,
But I
well-
would contact her. She is the person, Erin Mannix, she's a town planner, and she's the
Okay.
person she is the one that was also involved in the whole process of getting this thing organized for that.
There you go, okay.
For the minutes, would you mind if I included your surname as well? I've got
No,
your
of course,
first name.
of course, yeah.
It is,
Bloom, like the flower, BLO, Charles and Maureen Bloom.
I got the Charles and Maureen. Thank you.
and it's Erin Maddox.
Erin,
Mannix.
Mannix.
If you want to, you could give me your contact information. I could forward it along to her and ask her to
Okay.
reach out to you too. If you want,
Okay.
I'm sure you don't want to publicly give me all of your,
Okay,
it's,
all right.
we could do it after the meeting. If you
Yeah,
plan on
yeah.
staying, that's
Yeah.
fine.
We'll need to know your blood pressure and a few other
Yeah.
things. Nothing important.
This is important for us though, because we are actually examining all of the issues around affordable housing. So don't feel you're interrupting. This is very
Okay.
important to us
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I think that this helps illustrate an area where this committee could get involved with future projects, right? Because this
Very
would
much
help.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Again, you're welcome to stay if you want to hang
Yeah,
around.
let's
The major thing we're going to be talking about is the next item on the agenda, which is we have working groups within the committee. So there are 2 people here, Jane on my right and Peter on my left, the other way around, who have been working on studying housing trust funds. And the idea of a housing trust fund is for the town to manage a sum of money. And it gets a little complicated once I finish with that. But manage a sum of money that will facilitate people who wish to build affordable housing. And maybe it's going to be just helping them do some surveys. It could be actually giving them a grant of money in housing trust funds. I think there are, Peter, 6 you said in the state?
Yeah.
Something like
I think
6 or
that's right.
7 towns have, or cities have a trust fund. And so we are doing the research, they are doing the research to try to do it. So let's have that presentation now. Jane or Peter, who wants to?
Well, I want to hand it to Jane. This is her wordsmith documents that are really important here. I provided an outline that we've used all the way through to guide both what the proposal says and the letter of transmittal to the Board of Selectmen. And you've seen the drafts of both. And Jane, thank you again so much for the work that you've done on that. She's taken my scribbles and turned them into documents, both. And I got to hand it to you for that.
I have to look it up on my phone because I don't have an actual.
You want me to here?
Never mind. So Peter did a lot of work on taking a look at the established housing trust funds in the state. And he actually got some very good ideas from that. So taking that and layering into it data and research from, there's a nonprofit organization that's focused for the state. It's exclusively on affordable housing, and they also had some proposals. We kind of came up with what we thought were the relevant points with regard to a housing trust for Madison. And basically, in looking at housing trusts, they're really a mechanism for managing the monies that are coming in or collected by the town whether it be from donors or taxes or from fees that the town may levy for various activities. And it's a way to sort of take those monies and find a home for them within the local government and to have them managed properly. And in order to do all of this, requires setting up a group of people to oversee this process. So one of the first things that would have to be done if we were to move forward is to figure out the mechanism to set up the housing trust fund, first of all, whether that be an ordinance or some sort of regulation that is passed by one of the government's bodies, whether it be planning or
Probably the
zoning
Board
or
of
whatever.
Selectmen, I think.
Huh?
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, Board of Selectmen or whatever. So once that is determined that, yes, you know what, we're gonna pursue affordable housing and we need a mechanism to move forward with the financing side of it, then you have to have a group of people that oversee the money that's gonna be coming in and how it's going to be managed through this fund. And basically, the recommendation is that there's a board of trustees for the fund. And based on what the research Peter has done and, you know, things that we've read from other areas, it's good to have at least 7 or 8 people on this board. So we came up with a list of people that we thought would be appropriate for this based on what all the research we've done. And basically the first 6 are the Madison, somebody who would be a Madison housing director, or somebody who is sort of in charge of overseeing the process. And it could be somebody such as Mark, who is our current Affordable Housing Committee chairperson. Of course, you also want to add to that the town planner, and then the finance director, and or maybe a local banking executive, because there would be some paperwork involved in setting up accounts for this particular housing trust. Also, a chair of the zoning board, or somebody who's designated, who's affiliated with zoning. And we also suggested the director of social services, and then somebody who knows something about real estate, because there's a lot of real estate detail in what we're trying to accomplish with regard to raising money for certain plots of land or certain developments that might go in. So either somebody who has a real estate background or a business development equivalent. And then the recommendation is to have 2 at-large members of the community, and those people who are closely associated with the target audience, which in this case would be people like your son, people who need affordable housing within the community. So the idea is to have these people sort of coalesce and take on roles within the committee to oversee the structure of the housing trust fund. Peter, do you want to talk about the sources, the potential sources of income?
Yeah, this outline that we're trying to give to the Board of Selectmen is really a condensation of what the other ones in the state have done. So I've robbed a lot of language from them.
And they have too, sure.
And everybody does that. So, you know, these are ideas that are not off the top of our heads. They're really from the rest of the state and represent a pretty good representation of what's in the state. So we listed seven sources of income, and they're not very controversial. And it's something that the Board of Selectmen will certainly debate. I mean, I can imagine a meeting where this would be discussed, and the first thing they're gonna say is, oh, how are we gonna fund it? Oh, we've got 7 things listed. Well, we can't do that one. We can't do that. We gotta change this one. It's gonna be this amount. I mean, it's gonna be a highly debated item as to how to fund the thing. But we suggested 7 ways to do it, and you've all got copies of that.
The people in the audience don't.
I beg your pardon?
Our audience members do not have copies.
You could read it if you want to run down real quick.
Yeah, just run it down.
Oh,
So that
We
Mr.
won't debate it.
Mr. and Mrs. can hear it.
Mr. and Mrs. Bloom.
Sure.
Proposed sources of income. We would like to get an allotment from the town's annual budget. You know, the town has formed this committee on affordable housing, but has really not formalized the committee beyond its name only and its advisory capacity. So we would like to see the town support affordable housing more in terms of dollars, giving part of the annual budget, and we've suggested $10,000 a year. And the town does collect building and building improvement permit fees, and we'd like to get some percentage of those. We suggested 10%. There's something called inclusionary zoning fees. If somebody wants to build in the town and does not include in an apartment building, for example, a certain number of affordable units, we would put a fee on that on a per square foot basis for every apartment square footage that doesn't qualify as affordable. We'd love to get some monetary gifts from people who feel very sympathetic toward us. And we're not very good at really seeking out sources of income from charitable organizations and trust funds and things. We need to do a little bit of investigation there. And then, of course, these funds would be invested, and anything that they would earn from their investment would go back into the same fund. That's okay. And, you know, we have some Airbnbs in town too. And an Airbnb is a great source of income if somebody comes and pays, let's say, $2,000 a week for, if we could get 5% of that or something, you know, we would like to do that. Those are sources of income. And the expenditures are associated with things germane to affordable housing, land acquisition. There's, you know, land for sale here is very expensive, and we have some town land too, but land acquisition, if you can't build houses if you don't own the land, okay, who's gonna own the land? Well, the developer usually does, and the town may give back something in terms of a tax abatement or an incentive of some sort. There's several things listed here that we would recommend the board look at in terms of funding this particular trust fund. That's really it. You know, there'd be an annual report.
And the idea is it really is the financial mechanism, but around that, there would be a set of rules with regard to the collection of the monies, how the monies are monitored, how there would be quarterly or maybe monthly reporting on those monies, as well as how those monies are going to be portioned out to the community for various projects.
And the board of trustees that we've outlined here would be responsible for most of those decisions.
One of the things that listed here also is things like rental assistance, emergency repairs on affordable housing structures, adaptive reuse, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a long laundry list of things. But that said, this particular board of trustees probably in with regard to this structure would probably have to also have an outline of who is eligible, what are those, what's the criteria the town wants to put around that? Because to your point, developers can come in and build affordable housing. However, if they secure loans and grants from various sources, there are going to be different conditions on those monies and who is eligible for either acquiring a house or a rental apartment. So one of the ideas is, you know, the town can have some say as to how this money gets spent and who are the people that are going to be, you know, in these units. So that's why it's important for us to hear from people like yourself from the community who are actually actively involved in affordable housing situations. So thank you for coming and sharing your story, actually.
Good. Comments?
No, I think it's all good.
Jen? I'm sorry, Heather, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, but if she's.
Jen, are you still in the garden?
I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah.
question for you. Have you
Okay.
received a copy of this before? Have you had a chance to see it, read it?
I'm sorry, which item?
This is the item, which is the draft for Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
I don't know if I
Yes.
remember seeing that coming through in my email.
I think only yesterday.
I saw the agenda come through yesterday.
Actually, Jen, unfortunately, I had Molly, Heather, and Aaron, and I forgot to put you on the
Oh,
list.
okay, you did not get.
So you're off.
You're off the hook.
You're off the
I'm
hook.
off the hook. Okay. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me a copy at your convenience so I could just take a peek at it, that'd be great. But otherwise, I'm here to listen into what's going on now.
I think, let me just ask you a more general question that I was going to be a little bit more specific, but we'll get that to you, obviously. The idea of this is a recommendation from the Affordable Housing Committee to the Board of Selectmen to establish a trust fund. And
Right.
there are a lot of areas in here where we put in detail, or I should say Jane and Peter have put in detail. And just from your experience with the board, should those details be recommendations, or should they be part of a presentation to the Board of Selectmen? How do we handle that? Because I think, as Peter said before, if you list a whole bunch of things specifically, then you're going to get an argument about each one of them. When we're really trying to be focused on the idea of establishing this trust fund, we can then discuss after the trust fund is established all the specific details about how we're going to do it. So
I do think it's good to include in the presentation the ideas that you've come up with as recommended potential funding sources, because that's just going to show the board that you guys, I mean, as I know, but it's going to show the rest of the board that you've been really putting a lot of thought into different ways to make this work. And I always think that presenting ideas for making something work is going to be a more positive outcome than just saying, we want to do this now, finance department, figure it out. You know what I mean?
Jen, we understand that the board probably doesn't really understand what an affordable housing trust fund is. We didn't understand it until well into the process. So we also drafted a memo of transference of our proposal to the Board of Selectmen that explains what an affordable housing trust fund actually is, how many towns in Connecticut already have it, and even to the point where we can provide the ordinances that establish those, as documents. It's getting pretty thick, and we don't want to go much beyond that, but we can certainly give good, solid examples of the 6 or 7 that we know about that have established them and has done so by town ordinance. So we created a memo of transferal of this proposal to the Board of Selectmen that explains all that stuff. Here's what we want to do. Here's why we want to do it.
She's also not received. So.
You haven't received that either.
Yeah.
Right, but
Okay.
you certainly will, and it'll explain what it's all about. It'll explain what we're trying to do and why.
Here's the question, Peter. I mean, I think, and Jen, is the best way to do this is both written and a oral presentation to the board?
I believe so. Just because I think it will be good to make the most out of the presentation. What I think would be most effective is to provide a written presentation, right, to the Board of Selectmen prior to your oral presentation that you would submit at a meeting. That way, the board would have a chance to go through all of the documents prior to the oral presentation that would happen at a Board of Selectmen meeting, maybe come up with potential questions, so that it could be, a more effective, streamlined process, so that they're not receiving all of the information right there at the Board of Selectmen meeting and then having to process it. And then, if they can have a written copy of the presentation leading up to it, then I think that will be beneficial for good communication.
Yeah, we could do a PowerPoint as well, which might be.
Yep, that would be perfect. Yeah. And the PowerPoints are always good because, then when members of the community are watching those Board of Selectmen meetings, it gives them reference points as well. And visuals are always good.
Yep.
Good comments. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
can certainly
Good.
accommodate that.
I just forwarded it to you. Sorry, Jen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that.
Yeah, okay. So I think, when I read this, I don't have any real problem with any of this stuff, although I do think that in the terms of funding and in terms of the actual responsibilities of, what we use would be for money for, and even the composition of the trustees, that they be recommendations separate from the recommendation.
And that's what we proposed it.
Yeah, so in other words, the key thing I think is, this is something that the town should do.
Right.
And here's how, when we go subsequently, then here's the things that we have to cover and then decide how we do them.
And
Does that make
based
sense?
on what's already being done in the state, here's what
Yeah.
we think
And then
makes the most sense.
examples from other
Sure.
places.
Sure.
I think we would also want to take a look at whether town employees would act as trustees or whether we would be liaisons similar to how we are to this board.
Yeah, and I think that's something for the board of selectmen
Yeah.
to decide,
Right.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking, just in terms of, if I was sitting on the board of selectmen, I would not wanted to be approving all of this at one time, because I think there are other questions that come up along the way. So if we're all good about that, so,
I'd like to make a motion.
yeah, I think so, but I think we want to do a PowerPoint, and are you prepared to do a PowerPoint this year?
Right now?
No,
Oh.
no.
He's got it.
Yeah, would you mind just give you quickly whip one up?
No, well, we have one. We have one.
We've got one already.
Well, you have the one you did before, but not with all the stuff that you have in here now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
We
gee
can
whiz.
augment,
Okay.
sure, and edit it.
Oh, sure.
So let's do a motion then that we will recommend to the Board of Selectmen that the town of Madison adopt a housing trust fund. And then that's what we're recommending, and then that we will provide all of this supporting data that goes along in a memorandum. Or do you think, Jane, just thinking about the PowerPoint, I think that will be great at the meeting, but should we be drafting a memo as well as separate?
Well, the transmittal memo is one that you've seen.
Yeah, but this has a lot of good stuff in the actual proposal here. We really want to. I'm just thinking of somebody who doesn't necessarily know what they're talking about.
The introductory letter says, here is our proposal to establish an affordable housing trust fund. There are two separate documents.
I know.
One is, here's what we're trying to do, and then here's our suggestion for how to do it.
But what is our resolution right now?
Well, like you said,
That's- we have to
recommend to the
resolution.
Board of Selectmen that they enter into an affordable housing trust fund, for the city of Madison.
Okay. So my second question now, okay, let's take a vote on that, because that's the first thing. So we are going to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. And if you're gonna write the notes down, we'll have to get the exact words as for the resolution. Peter, if you're taking notes.
Well, I just wrote down,
But
resolution.
I think we should have the whole recommendation as part of our minutes. So that we are, correct me if you don't like the way I'm saying this. We're recommending to the Board of Selectmen that they adopt a regulation to establish a housing trust fund for the town of Madison.
Sums it up.
So,
I think that,
Short and
you know,
sweet.
make it, keep it simple. We don't want to
okay,
try to put too many details.
all of those in favor of adopting that resolution?
Aye.
Any objection? No. See, okay. So that's done. So then I'm just thinking what the next steps in our mechanism. So we want to be able to make a PowerPoint presentation. And I would leave it up to Jane and Peter, if you think that we could do a PowerPoint presentation that'd be sufficient to send along with our written recommendation that we just approved.
Yeah.
You think that'll be sufficient?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did I misunderstand?
No, just on-
Oh, okay. Are we, I guess when Jen was speaking, I thought that she thought we should send documents first for people to read.
Yes,
And then when we go in person, we would have a PowerPoint. So I don't think you send a PowerPoint with this, right?
Well, you can
No.
send it and have them look at it, but, and I think that it's gonna require explanation in the actual meeting. Because
No,
everything
don't
has
send
to
it
be
ahead of
ready.
time.
I wouldn't
We
send
gotta
a
present
PowerPoint.
it. We gotta be
I would,
there.
I would send paper
Yeah.
to read
The proposal.
in preparation for that scheduled meeting. And we would go,
Yeah.
and there would be an oral presentation with a PowerPoint shown.
There's usually a packet of documents that comes out to the Board of Selectmen members in
For
advance
review.
of a meeting for review.
Sure.
And so if you were on the
Yeah.
agenda, you would include all of the documents as part of that packet for them to review.
Right.
And so in the past, when I've been on the meetings and we've had PowerPoints, we've sent along a copy of the PowerPoint
Yeah.
also.
Really?
Just so they have everything in advance
So-
of the meeting, so
They
they
do
can
it
review
by
it.
the words and then the PowerPoint attached to.
Yeah, so they can develop their questions.
Okay.
And so what you
Okay.
probably would want to do is work on the PowerPoint and then maybe bring the PowerPoint back to this group to review,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then you would approach and get on the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Mhm.
And then you would send that as a packet for the Board of Selectmen.
I think we should request the meeting now. I mean, because we can review all the stuff that we're gonna present. We don't have to get it all together before we even ask them if we can meet with them, do we?
But we want to get on the calendar, I think
Well,
that's the point you're trying to make,
Yeah,
right,
We
Peter?
want
Yeah.
to get on the calendar, but we also don't want to, by any chance, to say,
So when do we
okay,
put
next
that
Monday,
request in?
please.
Before you
We
rent.
want to be
But
fairly.
Right, I mean, I can't ask.
We
Yeah,
can do
I
that though.
We're not ready to.
How often do they meet?
Every 2 weeks.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, without
I
some
think you
sense
don't
of-
request a meeting until you've got
Yeah,
all of your stuff together.
I really
And it's not gonna
believe
take that long. The written part's already done.
right.
We've got everything
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, well, I
It's
mean,
already
I
done.
And have
suggest
everybody
that.
review it.
Yes, I mean, I'm with you, Francis.
We
I
reviewed
think,
the
I think
PowerPoint here.
we need to
like
really
few
make sure we
weeks
got our
ago,
package
and
and we review our package.
It sounds like.
So that's another 2
wants it
weeks.
to be
And
edited.
it will be 2 weeks, and you know how long it's gonna take
semantics.
before we have the
But I
fresh
mean,
one
it's
in
basically
place?
done. It's a good idea.
Is the
Me
2
too,
weeks gonna make,
reviewing
is
it.
the 2 weeks gonna make a difference?
Yeah, I agree, Mark,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that we have to look at
Yeah.
all, this has to be, there can't be any typos. We
Yeah.
need to make sure that, there's a few things. that-
Punctuation.
Yeah, and then we see the PowerPoint and then you forward
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't forward something that I haven't seen.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Can we-
No,
is
and
that
you
doable
don't
in 2
forward,
weeks?
I would say you don't forward it along until you're on the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
For
I
the
don't-
meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's part of the packet that
So
goes
that's fine.
for the.
so
meeting.
Peter, you and I can work on the PowerPoint next week and we can forward it to the.
2 weeks from today, we'll have all the documents ready for approval. It would go to the board of selectmen. Is that appropriate?
Okay.
It's very important. And thanks for all the work you're doing.
Yeah.
I know, Peter's retired, Jane is still doing other things.
James got stuff to do.
Okay, I said before, and I would recommend again that in the written documents that we take the things that we're going to do and make them examples rather than being specific as to what they have to do. So I'm really afraid of getting into the weeds. Well, we should have a sentence that says the housing trust fund will be managed by trustees. Based on our experience and what the towns are doing, this will be something like this.
Okay.
Whereas I don't think, even if the board were to say, great, we approve this, they would want to have some influence, I think, in how the trustees are structured.
Yeah.
Exactly what is the list of things that we're going to use to discuss it.
Isn't
Because
that-
those are,
Well, it's already-
Isn't that what this
Isn't it
says
all-
anyway?
Isn't it all implied in the fact that it's just a recommendation?
Yeah, and it says suggested, proposed.
It is implied if you want to, it is, but it's,
Too much
it's,
detail?
no, I'm just thinking in terms of, yeah, I would like the case stay focused on the big part of it, which is let's get this thing done.
Mhm.
And then here's how the implementation and making that a recommendation or showing that we've done the research as you have done as to how the mechanism is. I think your 10% for building permits or I don't want to say Airbnb or building permits. But I mean, I don't know, is that the right number? Does anybody have a chance? I mean, the board has to actually approve
It's
that.
being sent as, they're gonna change. You know, we're just suggesting, here's what other
It's just a
towns.
request.
And I'm
Yeah.
just, and I'm just
And,
suggesting,
and this memo that we drafted is already a conveyance document to the board of selectmen, suggesting that it has a
I think we're talking-
proposal that.
I'm talking about something else here. I mean, it says here, housing trust proposed, members total will. I mean, it's not saying we, you know, we're telling people how to do this.
Okay, well, they can
It's-
wordsmith that stuff.
You understand what I'm saying?
But do you have a copy of the proposal
Yeah.
letter of transmittal too? Yeah, okay.
So it is right now, but
Can I just, Jen, is this something where an ordinance would be needed for this?
I do believe so, yes. And we, you know, obviously need to have the finance department involved in the discussions as well, because Stacy's the one that knows all of the ins and outs, legalities about how to set up, you know, special funds for the town to manage, and, you know, just what would go into that.
Jen,
So,
you've met with Stacy. She's already working on it.
okay, good. Yeah, but
And
I
listen,
do
there
believe
is-
it would need to
Jen, there is-
go through
Jen-
the ordinance process.
Jen, in the statute, all the towns that have done this before, they work on this one statute.
Am I breaking up?
Yes.
You're breaking up, you're back again.
You're back.
There's a statute already, I mean, it's Connecticut general statute, which covers this and it allows towns to set up a.
Okay, I'm on Summer Hill going,
Okay, you're going over the hill or you,
She's going up.
Okay.
okay, good.
okay.
We know what we're gonna do.
I'm on Summer Hill, so.
Okay,
If an ordinance is needed, that's a very involved process. So you basically would be taking this document and then you would have to outline exactly how the trust is going to be set up. So the way, and, you know, this is sort of the first step, go to the board, get them to approve this, and then there would need to be a group of people that would come together to actually write the actual ordinance. for
oh yeah,
this.
we're not gonna write the
Okay.
ordinance, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
But as I say, all the towns use the same statute that they, and it permits the town to do that.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. That was a great addition.
I think it's, yeah, and they all do, Greenwich and.
If you look at
Mansfield.
what is available at the town's websites, the ordinances, Greenwich's runs 25 pages. Okay, and it's so detailed and it's all legalese. Whereas Mansfield Stores is about 6
Yeah,
paragraphs.
3 pages, yeah, I looked at that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've agreed that we're gonna make this recommendation, we agreed on the plan is to carry out, and we're gonna do this.
And we're gonna look at all the vote to approve all amended and recommended documents at the next
We
affordable
hope to.
housing.
That's the plan.
Got it.
Yeah, and make sure we get Jen a copy of what we've already.
I just sent it to her.
Oh, you did, great.
Good, thank you.
Okay, that was the major thing on the thing, any comments?
No, just, thank you for being so welcoming.
Oh,
no.
Anytime.
Thanks for coming.
I do want to ask, so this, just to clarify, this board was not established when the Wellington all got approved.
no, it was done, Wellington was approved about a year before it was approved. We began in January of last year. 23. They had already gotten all the parts together, they were already starting to build actually. So,
I'm just going to give you.
Please
and we do have some people from the Hope Partnership coming next meeting. So if you want to stop by, they're part of the.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we read that.
They're gonna talk about it, they're actually working on now one in Clinton, where they're converting a school that's been not gonna be used. So if you'd like to step back, in 2 weeks, so we're the first and third Wednesday in the.
But DeMarco's managing. Hope is just.
Marco's managing it, and I'm just saying that.
Yeah, no,
we're
that's
interested
a
in learning
great
little bit more about
suggestion.
it, so.
That's a great suggestion.
Probably should bring this up.
Yeah, I'm gonna just.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes,
Yes,
very,
yes,
very
yes.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
My second working group, first, we really don't have. any.
Well, I will say this, just as an update a little bit on the parcels.
Yeah.
So Jane and I were just talking, and sort of very last minute, we decided, I know last time we said that we just thought maybe it'd be best to focus on the larger parcels that we had, things had gotten whittled down, there were 15 on the sheet, which I totally walked out of my house because I was starting to type about this and left it on my desk, but anyway, the list. So at first we thought, well, maybe we should just focus on the larger things, 20 acres. But then we were just kind of talking, and there were these maybe 4 or 5 others that are small, like one might be 1.4, 2.5, whatever. We decided to just take a quick spin and find these places and just see what we thought. And I think that, so one of them is where the municipal garage is. And so it's a little bit, we're not quite sure exactly, it's sort of the picture. Yeah, but it's sort of like, yeah, it's sort of,
Yeah.
and we think it's, I don't know if it abuts or it's right across from Concord Meadows. Now, the reason that we were thinking, we're wondering, like, we think we should keep this in our mind is that when we met with Dave Davis and Charmaine, I don't know her last name, from Facilities Committee, one of the things that they had said was, he brought up the garage thing, is that one of their goals is to look at all the properties to figure out how things can be used maybe more efficiently. And something like do we have municipal things happening over here and over here and over here and
Yeah.
consolidate?
It's all.
So keeping that in mind, if something like that space was ever not abandoned, but if they relocated or whatever, we were thinking, well, maybe that should just be kept on the list.
Yes, and he actually made a statement that, the town is using some more very valuable land
Yeah.
for these activities, when there is other land that's less
That's true,
valuable.
he did say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
used
that's
as an
good.
alternative,
Yeah.
which was interesting, so I think we need to have another dialogue with him, although I think he's collecting numbers, and I think they're a little further behind than we anticipated with regard to sussing out.
When you say collecting numbers, how do you mean?
What they're actually doing is they are collecting operating numbers of all the parcels the town owns and trying to ascertain,
What's the more value?
expense,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
expense is associated with each, and then expense versus the value of that
Value of
land.
it being
Sure.
used in another capacity.
They also have a big setup down the surf club. I don't know if you ever noticed it. With
Okay.
trucks, pickup trucks and machinery. They got a nice big building there. If you're going in,
What's that behind?
It's by the
Well,
football
if you were
field.
looking at the field of view to the left.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, oh, where people go, I'm hardly ever at the surf club, but I remember. If you were standing at the volleyball court and looking at the surf club,
Correct.
it would be, at the football field, it would be up to the left, sort of back.
Yes.
Like sort of where people
Huh.
go when they're
Never
gonna
noticed
go
that.
walk to the place where they have their boat stopped.
Right. Yeah. If you make that left
Yeah,
to go
if
to
you
the
go that
boats.
way, there's a big
So,
expanse of grass.
Oh, there's a lot of room there, and you could
Is it-
walk through over to Lowry Field, or that field
Yes.
that's right on Route 1.
Yes.
That would be
Yeah.
on the other side. Anyway, there are trucks.
There are, yeah, my son
I've
used to
been
work
on
there
it a long
summers.
time, so I don't know, we don't know, but
Yeah.
it was a comment, though, I think that is one of their goals is to figure out what is the town, how's it being used? How much does it cost?
Well, also, you guys were thinking about, has it qualified too, in terms of accessibility and all those things?
Well, there's many things to consider.
Oh, I know, it's a
Yeah.
problem.
But this is actually right off Cobb's, it's right there.
Oh
But
my
anyway,
gosh, yeah,
so
that would
that
be
was
great.
one.
It's right by Fort Path.
Another one was, we found this teeny tiny little splotch of land right off Durham Road and
Respond,
Horse Pond.
1.5 acres.
1.5 acres. As it turns out, there's a little, we blew right by this actually little driveway with a stop sign. And there was actually, was it a police car or a town car? Some cow car in there. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And it is, I think, like 1.2, 1.4. I'm like, well, this is fascinating. It's
Yeah.
just nothing.
And it's got all this frontage
Yeah,
on
it's right on the
both
road.
Durham and Horse Pond.
And so that was another one.
Yeah.
And then, Rolling Meadow. So then another parcel that had come up
Rolling Meadows.
is Rolling
in
Meadow.
the neighborhood.
It's
Sounds
across-
like north.
It's at the end, yeah, so it's
Across
across from
Randy.
Yes.
You were going up,
Oh.
79, Randy would be on the right.
Yes,
Rolling Meadows
to the left.
Down
You
the
have to
neighborhood.
go way down.
Yeah.
And then it's actually a neighborhood. And
That's a nice location.
It's a very nice
Yeah.
location.
You get lost
There's
in
an
there,
acre
right?
there that was basically taken over by the town for.
Is that the one that was on the corner?
It's, yeah,
Yeah, it's actually on a corner.
Beaver
Mhm.
Pond.
Beaver
and-
Pond and Rolling
Rolling Meadow.
So that, I don't know, I think there was 3.
So you have all the infrastructure there.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, all the
So anyway,
utilities. all
so
that.
I'm going to type these up, these things
And
up.
comments.
Yeah,
That's half the
but
battle.
these smaller units, I think one of the reasons we were saying not to do the smaller units was because no one would come to develop.
But we don't
Not
know.
necessarily.
Well, we don't know anything.
We don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, just, because there's not, I mean, because because in the other ones that we think are very desirable, are things like Ryerson and Jeffrey. But
So that's,
after,
we kind of know.
after
Yeah.
listening, thinking about it, I'm thinking, that's gonna be, not that we shouldn't be, I think, in on the discussion, but I think there'd be some competition. Don't you
Well, I think with some of those other ones, we talked about this before, but I think we want to ensure that we're in a discussion on all these. So that somehow or other, we
Yeah.
should be saying, okay, when anything is considered for this, we have to be informed and participate in the discussion.
At
Because
Ryerson especially, because there's playing fields up there, there's acres of playing fields up there at that town's location.
Well, when we drove up to Ryerson, I don't even know if you need playing fields, because the space where the school is huge.
Oh, absolutely,
You don't have to go any further than right on that driveway. I
absolutely.
mean, honestly, I've never been there before because I had no reason to ever be.
I walk up there all the time, I mean, it's close to my house, and there's acres there of playing field area, as well as the schools, plural,
Yeah.
itself.
Anyway, I thought that I would type this up with our comments on it
Good,
and maybe just give it to people.
good.
Yeah, well, I just
Yeah,
don't,
that's,
the
you know,
question is, if we believe those properties should be on the list, but we need to get that list to town and get them to say, yes, we will tell you what's going on.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I
I don't know
need
what,
anybody-
yeah, I don't know what to do for a second, but first I thought I would just type everything
Oh, no,
up.
you gotta.
We give it to you guys and then,
Yeah.
with our comments on the little thing.
Great
And
suggestion.
then we can talk about it and then decide
Sure.
how to present it or whatever, I don't know. So anyway,
So
so,
I'm not sure exactly who to present it to.
Yeah, me neither,
Go
but, you
through
know,
Aaron.
we'll at least do
And-
this
and
step
it's an
first.
informal thing. My concern is that the facilities committee, and other people, or the Board of Education, they're all talking about this right
Well, no,
now.
let me-
We're not in any
let me tell you
conversation.
what Dave Kemp said though, for what it's worth. He said their goal is not to say what should be done with property. It was just to analyze it all and
Mhm.
suggest whether or not some things could be consolidated and things can be freed up. But it wasn't, he said, it wasn't to say you should do X with this property.
No, I
Right.
understand that. I
Yeah,
just
they're
wanna make sure-
projecting.
I just want to make sure we're in the conversation
Yeah.
with properties that can see what we can use for
Sure.
that's, and I think that it's not a resolution, it's an
Yeah.
informal thing. I mean, probably through Jen and then to Peggy, just say, look, we want to know, so when anybody's talking about using properties, because once the facilities come and finishes it, they're going to take some
Then
action,
it's-
presumably,
Yeah.
or maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also the further down the line is, okay, here's the properties that we've identified as something we're interested in just knowing about, like, then it's, okay, well, how can we now investigate this for actually even whether anything's viable, and then that's where it comes down to getting money, so that we can have, I don't know where you start as the developer, you have to have people go tell you, oh, it's 1.44, no, that's crap, we can't do anything there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's,
I don't know.
so, I mean, I think right now it's baby steps. I'll type it up, I'll put our comments on it.
Yeah.
You guys can get it.
Who owns that huge piece of land at Nod Road and Horse Pond? That's,
Nod?
That they level,
well,
Not good.
I don't know.
it's,
We new road.
new road.
yeah,
Oh, that's
New
a
It's
thing,
being
that's
developed.
already
It's being
spoken for.
developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's being developed.
Is it a,
Is
is
it-
it
is
a
it gonna
medical,
be-
I think it's gonna be a
Medical.
medical thing, a medical
medical.
building, I read in the source or something.
Yeah.
It's a medical facility.
You know, Heather? Any chance?
Yeah, there's actually, at New Road in Horse Pond, there's actually two things going in there. The side that's been cleared, my understanding is the medical facility, and then directly across the new road from that, that side has not been cleared. There's going to be housing going in there that has an affordable housing component.
Oh, really?
I can't imagine. There's a-
I think it's one of the properties that Erin has brought up in the past and.
Yeah, she mentioned it, we're not surprised, we didn't know where it was
Oh,
last
okay.
time. Last time she
She
brought it up.
mentioned it, but I had no idea.
Last time she brought it up,
That's
it was not
Maybe
finalized.
we
They had
should
to
do a
get-
tally of all the projects that include affordable housing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm not aware of all of them. I mean,
Well, they are
Well, they're
in
on
the
our, they're
original,
on our FAQs.
well, there's also
Yeah.
on the,
And then-
in the book, the
and this one is, this project.
Well, that one, no, because that was.
This was-
Okay, any others like
Oh,
that?
yeah,
out
I guess
there?
what Erin would maybe, I guess we need to ask her, after the FAQ things, which was Concord Meadows, and I forget
Yeah.
where the other one is, and then Wellington.
Yeah,
Is there, what else
I'm
is
just
there?
wondering.
Well, there's a
what's
couple-
the-
Well,
there's
there's
a
the
number of
owner
places.
occupied units that are around town.
Yeah.
Those were all like Stephanie Court, whatever, that's up. So
But
No,
also
there's-
Appleway,
and then
West
different places.
Sussex.
And, yeah, and then there's
Cottage Road.
there's one, a couple of those houses.
East River Farms.
Yeah, East River
yeah.
Farms.
It is listed in the booking after
Yeah.
the year before work committee was formed.
Yeah. But they're existing, I'm talking about stuff in the pipeline that hasn't.
I don't know if there's anything else that in the pipeline. I know that the ones they're now building, the apartments they're gonna build now by Christine Cullen's place is $1.2
Yeah, those
million.
are affordable.
They're selling apartments over the stores for $1.2 million on the
Yeah,
place.
we're moving.
Who's gonna spend that kind of money down there?
I'm looking at the real estate person here and
Yeah,
saying,
we were all kind of wondering that too, to be quite
There's, I mean,
honest.
it's, oh, come on.
It's one of those things that will, it
Will
will,
it sort itself
it will
out?
dissipate and then it will come back.
Yeah,
And then it'll, it's gonna take a while.
it will take a while, but they are actually, they've leveled the ground now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, thank you for that. And I think so, for the next meeting, then we can add that to the list. Francine?
I should be able to, oh, yeah, I can text it.
And the other question, which I'm still not resolved on, is how are we going to continue to communicate? Or are we going to do any public outreach in any form at all? And we decided, I think correctly, that we would not do the big public meetings, but are we going to do anything? Or do we want to do anything? Or do we want to think about it and talk about it some more?
I guess I thought that was settled.
Hmm?
I thought it
I
was
thought we
settled.
settled that.
Yeah, I thought it was
So we
settled. We
said
weren't
no.
doing that.
That's on-
Bit small or big.
Well, maybe
Until
I'm
we
happy
made
with, maybe I'm happy with the decision, so I'm asking again. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
Affirmation.
Yeah. So no one feels that there's any need to do anything more as far as that's concerned.
I think there's to be more progress.
Yeah.
Progress.
Yeah.
Until we really
Nothing
like
is
a
wrong.
dead, we're on the verge of doing something pretty good here. So
Well,
maybe
remember
until
the
we-
original meetings we had nothing to do with the progress. They were really informative.
Education.
Education meetings.
But do we need to educate more?
Does everyone-
I don't feel strong. I don't myself.
But let's not lose opportunities to advocate. I mean, if we wanna,
we have to ask, they're not coming to us. They're not coming to us. We have to
no,
ask.
but we're the virtual unknown in this town still. I mean, if we wanna advocate for one of the schools,
But we're not there, we have nothing to advocate for right now.
No.
You know?
I think it's very
Interesting.
sad.
Is it very telling, not to interrupt you, Peter, but it's been pretty well known that we're down 2 people.
Mhm.
And you think in Madison, Affordable Housing Committee, a lot of people talk about it, it's a topic, and no one has put their application in.
The Planning and Zoning Commission has had empty spaces for how many years now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, people are not dying to volunteer to be on a town committee. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. I wouldn't take it personally.
It is hard
I
to
can't
get.
understand why not. This is so much fun. What are you talking about?
I mean, honestly, the Planning and Zoning
Planning and zoning.
Commission still has open spots. Every once in a while, I go and look and see if it's filled up.
we all talk
So,
to people
you
though,
know,
we
come
can
on.
recommend that they apply. I mean, I've recommended one guy apply.
Well, I know Anthony has mentioned it to the town committee, the Republican town committee, and they
I
did have a
mentioned to the
candidate.
Republican Town Committee, St. Margaret's,
And-
and I'm pretty,
And no one's raised their
yeah,
hand.
pretty
Okay, but let me
social.
ask you guys, I
Nobody.
know that apparently I'm the only person that doesn't feel strongly about this. I get that originally they said 7 people should be on the committee, and that's what they put on the committee. But, okay, so what? I mean, what would change right now tonight if 2 more people were here?
Hard to say. I mean, I think certainly if we go back to one of our members before.
Nothing
then-
would change, and that wasn't even my point. My point was like, are people really like interested in, unfortunately, I thought they would be like,
No.
no, they're not, yeah.
Okay.
Well, because they don't know we're here. I
They
mean,
do know we're
honestly-
here.
I've been pretty vocal.
Yeah.
I've been pretty vocal, yeah.
Well, and then maybe they just don't think we're worth the time.
Well, we never did get a write-up in the newspaper. Remember how we said we wanted to do that?
I was interviewed, we did it.
Oh, and they never put it in?
He got fired. They eliminated their whole staff. There's only one woman now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't
Doesn't
realize
live in Madison.
I didn't know you got interviewed.
Oh, yeah, no, this is months ago, when we talked about it.
Yeah.
I went and called him up and the guy interviewed me and we sat on the park bench for about an hour and a half. And he took a lot of notes.
Well, should we call
Then
back?
Then he get fired.
Then we should call back.
Well,
Don't hang out with Mark.
Don't, it's dangerous. It doesn't make any sense in your career planning anyway.
I mean, to me, that would be a way to get some publicity, is that they do an article about us in the source that we're here. We've been here for 2 years now. We're still talking, well, I mean, that's a reach
Yeah,
of people.
That's
And
a
then
reach.
maybe that would inspire somebody to
I like
say,
that idea.
Okay,
So,
well, I'll reach
Reach out to them
again,
again.
I let
but they
people
don't,
read
they
the
don't have any
source.
reporters. That's the thing.
so who's writing these articles?
If you look at them, if they look at carefully, there's one article. That's all. It's
Somebody's writing the sports.
We do sports, yeah, we don't fit into the sports.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Activities.
I get-
That was
somebody's-
always the
Yeah, and
activity.
then there's the food.
No,
What about a letter to the editor instead? So if you can't get somebody to do an article, maybe you appeal to the community to come out and volunteer.
I think that is a good idea. I will try first of all and see.
I
if we
read-
can find
What's that
anybody.
second page, the feature article, person of the month?
There is a person of the
Person
week,
of
the
the
person of the week.
We could,
Yeah.
we could do some nominating for the person of the week if you want to do that.
You know what, on that magazine where they do the family.
The Madison
there-
Events
Yeah, they do the family and there's always a picture of them playing a game, or then walking the dog.
We could do
Something
something.
also no one reads.
Oh, I always look at it. I don't read it. I
No,
scan
you
it.
don't read, don't read. Don't
What's this magazine, the Shoreline Times? Isn't there I see it distributed in different
That's,
places.
the Shoreline Times.
Oh, you mean the Ink magazine?
No, I know
No,
what
it's,
you're
it's,
talking about.
it's,
They
it's,
put out, basically put out a promotion.
it's not a tabloid, it's a newspaper format, but they drop it in.
Oh,
in
yeah,
paper
sure. I
structure.
used to get both of them delivered to us for free.
I
The
don't
Shoreline
get it
Times
anymore.
doesn't come to us anymore, only the source.
One of the
Only the
biggest
source.
problems we have in town is that the source and the Shoreline Times do not report the news anymore. They do.
Yeah.
And that's across the country. I mean, that's just a fact. Read the source or read the Shoreline
Yeah,
Times
there's no
and just
news.
look and see where there's an ad for a dentist and there's an article about dentistry.
Yeah.
Remember what they used to have, they don't even have the police blotter anymore.
No,
No.
well, yes, occasionally,
Remember
but
that?
they don't put the names
The
in.
best thing in the
They
source.
When I
stopped,
first
they
moved
stopped putting
here,
the names in.
They will put, when I
Yes,
first moved here,
names, oh,
they'll
yes.
put names,
Names and,
age.
yes, age, name,
And
and
I
address.
called her up, and actually, she's a real estate agent in town. This is 28 years ago, and I'm like, Lynn, look at this. Lori's in the paper. She got a ticket, she was backing up on, and I'm like, and I pretended to be somebody else. I want to speak to Lori, I won't say her last name. 58 of Brookshire Drive, and she goes, who the fuck is this? And don't put that in minutes. And she goes, and her husband goes, that's Anthony. She goes, what? She was
Yes.
upset, she wasn't upset, she was upset her age was in it. Her age was in it, and because I quoted it to her. She went ballistic.
I will talk to the source and see if they would be willing to do anything all about that. I think the idea of writing a letter to the editor is a good idea because they need something to fill the space because that's full.
Yeah, I don't know when they stopped doing the name and age. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a while.
But yeah, because my neighbor had.
Now there's no
There's
police blotter.
there's nobody, I mean, there's nobody reporting, which is actually a very serious problem. There's no one, who's gonna watch the rascals of the town government if there's no one reporting?
Is that because of
Reporting on it.
staffing, journalistic staffing? There's no-
Well, I mean,
It's
there's no print anywhere.
advertising, it's the
period.
advertising, it's just disappearing. And, I mean, they, right now in the summertime, they get a lot of advertising because of the summer, people, read the paper for that reason. But seriously, take the next issue of the Source, and it came out tomorrow, it's out tomorrow. Take a look at it, and just look at the articles critically, and you'll see that most of the articles are basically, filling space. They're not
not
really
news.
articles about what's going on in town, they don't talk about the Boy Scouts, they don't talk about the firemen, they don't talk about anything.
You get fishing,
Pardon?
fishing, Captain
The
Morgan.
fishing- Captain Morgan is the best thing there. I read the fishing thing. I don't even fish. I love to read this stuff. He's got, ever look at that?
I used to,
No,
Yeah.
Captain Morgan, I
I
used
go
to.
right by that, I fly right by that.
I fly by,
He's re- he's
I go
really
straight to the real
Okay.
estate, I wanna see what was sold.
We will make an attempt in that direction, and that'll be the only thing we are going to do right now. And I'll keep bringing this up because I think that we need to think about it again.
So next time is Hope.
Some represent, we're not sure exactly who's going to be here.
Someone from Hope Partnership and I believe it's Cedar is the.
That's at our next meeting.
Yeah.
So the next.
Heather arranged.
Say it again, Heather.
Hope Partnerships and I believe it's Xenolith.
They're working.
They're the, one of the developers
It's the Clinton,
for the Clinton School
School.
project.
Oh, great.
so we'll get another chance to see that. We can ask some questions about it.
I invited the town planner, the equivalent to Aaron from Clinton, several months ago to come. And she said, sure, I'll come to one of your meetings and tell you what's going on in Clinton. But she never showed. And I haven't followed up on that at all. Should I though?
Why don't you
Well,
tell her that you're gonna have the people who are doing the repurposing of the school
Yeah.
at our meeting next month, she should come.
You might mention.
I will reach out again.
Yeah, I might mention to her.
You got something
Okay,
else?
I don't have anything else. Anybody?
Nope.
Ken, anything?
I got a,
Heather?
Anthony has a
Anything?
I got a question about what I was, directed to do, can we just review that really quick?
Oh, yes.
Staffing,
Well, it's your mention.
My
Your
object-
mention and actually, the town housing authority person. That's the question.
townhousing.
We talked about this early on. It means
How much we're
the
gonna pay
town
the
creating a
person?
new position that would be facilitator.
Okay.
for- And would be a member of the board of trustees, this recommendation here. So that would function.
Well, the town doesn't have.
That's right, Heather. Housing,
How does that relate to statistics though, that you were looking for? In terms of pulling together the need for the person, is that?
Making a recommendation that either, well, doing the research, Anthony, to see whether or not that person, we should recommend. that the
Okay.
town Consider.
one that, a
creating a new-
number of our seniors, disabled, that would decide our need.
Yeah, among other things, but I mean, you'd also be the person to whom somebody who's interested in affordable housing would come to the town and say, well, what's the deal here? And we want to build affordable housing, and we'd like to talk to you about, what's possible, what is the town willing to think about when it comes to affordable housing? If you have a housing trust fund, is there money to do some surveying, that kind of. It's got, in Karen right now is the person who knows the town plan, she's sort of part of the job.
Yep.
So my view was that, I think it was Peter. I'm sure. Is that successful, not successful housing. Building for housing, it needs to be a new function that actually facilitates all that, coordinates all that.
Well, it's in the plan.
But they do have a new plan,
It's in the plan. I mean, one of the first recommendations.
without the specifics.
Yeah, I mean, but one of the first recommendations in the goals in the plan
I
is,
probably have a copy of that.
they call it a point person, I think, I don't know my plan, I didn't bring it with me,
Yeah.
but, their recommendation is that, okay, the town should have a person that's,
You know, what I would do, Anthony, is I would just.
Go reread that
Do a little,
section.
Cruising on the internet, just go to some of the towns around here.
Yeah.
And see if there's a
Correct.
title called
they
their
have
housing
that.
person.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there are. several.
I think there are, and you might
I
just read what they have to say
Yeah.
about, that person.
Well, Fairfield had one. That guy that.
Yeah, he was
It was town, it's their town care.
Yeah. Can I just ask one question? When you guys were doing the housing trust fund and you mentioned those towns, are they the only towns in Connecticut that have it? Is that how
I think
you?
there's only six.
We don't know.
You know, I was gonna say,
Okay.
how did you know that? Or is there a listing someplace? Or no?
Well, I went to Stephanie at Scrog, and I also just searched the town, Connecticut Housing Trust Funds,
Oh,
a search, and came up with all the places where they were mentioned. There's a couple that I called up that somebody said, oh, yeah, we gotta do that, but they're not doing it yet.
okay.
And it's a very mobile idea though, so in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some more now.
Cities.
Yeah, that makes sense. Small towns.
And even places I looked around too, because I was trying
What was
to
New
understand that
Haven?
Stratford doesn't have one.
New
Ben
Haven?
had always
New
thought
Haven?
Guilford had one, but they
No,
don't.
yeah,
No, was New Haven in here?
there's a housing authority.
No, but the trust fund, they were talking
Oh, no,
about trust
no,
funds.
I'm talking about the person.
Oh, no, no, I was asking about the.
There are housing authorities in
Housing
town that have that responsibility.
Yeah, the housing authority, I know.
But the towns don't have that person.
Yeah, no, I meant when, I meant, I was asking Peter, that was sorry, I wasn't clear. When they came across, when they listed the cities that had housing trust funds, are these the only cities in Connecticut, are the only towns?
We don't
We don't
Oh, we
actually
don't know
know.
for sure. Okay.
Stratford
Don't actually know.
Nobody knows for
But you
sure.
called around and you.
You'd have, but you have to make
you
169 phone calls. You know?
Well, that's okay. I mean, they're not retired.
Yeah.
They're not-
But
Yeah,
But it's safe, the cities have them because they have to, they need, it's a housing authority.
I'm not, wouldn't be surprised if there were more. Okay, towns don't put on their websites a whole lot of stuff sometimes.
And some do, I mean, it is.
Some do, and that's how you find out about them.
Yeah, the
And
stores.
that's why they get listed in searches too. If you say Housing Trust Fund Connecticut and search it, you get a list of some. But some of them aren't active at all.
Yeah, no, I think
Take a look.
that's,
And
that's clarity.
don't worry about trying to put the whole thing together, just
Yeah,
come back and tell us what you've learned, what you've picked up along the way.
Okay.
So, okay. Heather, is anybody get some glasses? Plastic glasses,
Oh,
We
don't.
no, take that,
Take
yeah,
it.
take it home. That's-
No. I mean,
I'll bring another one next time.
No,
That's-
no, why not?
I want you to make it, or to taste this, so that you know
All
what.
right,
you're
all right,
doing.
all right.
That's what-
When they let us use rares in school, we could do it.
Then we'll all
We
bring
can
a
make it
bottle.
town property, I'm not sure. Is this
Oh, are we
something
adjourned?
I move we adjourn second.
Okay.
We are,
Aye.
it's for 5:15. And.
Did we just need to hit the stop button.
That's it. Okay.
New Zealand, so many on.